Hey there, if you're looking for a dog trainer here in the Kalispell area, you've definitely come to the right place. We're going to walk through a simple, practical guide to help you find the perfect professional for you and your dog. So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with why training in the Flathead Valley has its own unique flavor. Then we'll get into training methods, what to budget, and we'll finish up with a checklist of questions you can ask any trainer. It's really just a clear path to help you make a great choice. All right, first up, training for life in Kalispell. This is all about realizing that good training isn't just about sit and stay. It's about getting your dog ready for the specific environment we have right here in the valley. I mean, think about it. You want a dog that's cool and collected everywhere, right? Whether you're on a busy downtown sidewalk, walking through Woodland Park, or even if you happen to see some wildlife on a trail. It's really all about being a good neighbor for both you and your dog. Okay, next, let's get into the nuts and bolts of choosing a training style. We'll look at the philosophy you should be looking for and the different ways that training can actually be done. So the gold standard in modern dog training is something called positive reinforcement. It's totally backed by science, and the idea is simple. You reward the behaviors you want to see more of. Not only does this work really well, but it also builds a fantastic, trusting bond between you and your dog. And that brings us to a huge point. You absolutely want to steer clear of any trainer who uses fear, pain, or intimidation tactics. Seriously, those old school methods can really mess with your dog's trust and often make behavior problems even worse down the line. Now, training usually comes in two main flavors. You've got group classes, which are amazing for practicing skills around other dogs and people, but in a controlled way. Then you have private lessons, which give you that focused, one-on-one attention and are just perfect for working on specific things that happen right in your own home. So how do you actually size up a professional? Pretty much anyone can call themselves a dog trainer, so it really helps to know what to look for when it comes to their credentials. Professional certifications are a really good sign of true expertise. For instance, a CPDKK is for trainers focused on general skills. For tougher stuff like anxiety, you might look for an IABC CDBC. And for really complex fear or aggression, a CBCCKK shows they have specialized knowledge. Basically, these letters mean they're committed to humane methods and are always learning. And this is important to know about our area. Montana doesn't have a state license for dog trainers. Now, they do need a city business license to work in Kalispell, but those certifications we just talked about, that's your best bet for gauging their actual qualifications. All right, let's talk money. What can you expect to pay? Well, the price of training is usually a reflection of a trainer's experience, their certifications, and of course, the type of service you need. Here's a general idea of what to budget for here in the Kalispell area. A 6-week group class will probably run you somewhere between $175 and $350. A single private lesson is about $100 to $160. And then for the really intensive options like a board and train program, the investment is, as you can see, a lot higher. But this should give you a good financial starting point. Moving right along to Kalispell's rules and resources. This is all about the practical side of owning a dog here, knowing the local laws, and maybe more fun, finding the best places to practice all those new skills. Okay, first up, just a number, 8. What in the world do you think that could be about? That's right, it's the maximum leash length in feet allowed inside Kalispell city limits. This one little rule is a perfect example of why skills like loose leash walking aren't just a nice party trick. They're actually essential for your everyday walks around town. There are a few other key rules to keep on your radar. A rabies vaccination is required by state law, and you have to have the tag on your dog's collar. Also, just so you know, a lot of barking can be considered a noise nuisance. Good training just makes it easy for you and your dog to meet all these community expectations, no problem. And Kalispell has some fantastic places to get out and practice. Lawrence Park is awesome for working on that off-leash recall since it's safely fenced. Woodland Park is great for practicing focus when there are some distractions around. And of course, the trails at Heron Park and along the Stillwater River are just perfect for working on those nice, long, leashed walks. All right, last section. Let's talk about your pre-hire checklist. We're going to arm you with the exact questions you should ask any trainer you're thinking about working with. So when you're talking to them, you'll want to ask about their philosophy. You're listening for that positive reinforcement stuff. Ask about their credentials. Ask how they're going to create a plan that's specific to your dog, how they measure success, and of course, get a clear breakdown of all the fees involved.
And here is a fantastic question to ask, especially if you're dealing with more complex things like anxiety or reactivity. Asking if they're willing to work with your vet shows they have a really comprehensive, professional approach to your dog's overall well being.
Look, the bottom line is this. Taking the time to choose the right trainer is one of the single best things you can do for your dog. It really does lay the groundwork for better communication, a stronger relationship, and honestly, a much more peaceful home for everybody. When you have a well behaved dog that you can really trust, your whole world just gets bigger. You'll feel confident enough to enjoy everything Kalispell has to offer, whether that's a quiet walk along the Stillwater or a busy day exploring the farmer's market. We wish you the absolute best in finding the perfect partner for your training journey.